Everyone, welcome, welcome. This is our first stamp and craft. This is basically kind of replacing our make-alongs, or basically the same thing as the make-alongs, but just a different name. Today we'll be creating 2 cards with the February card kit, and the second card, actually I should say 2 cards with the February release. One will be with the card kit and one will be with the Stampin' Cut. I'm going to make sure everything's going good. Let me grab the cards real quick. So this is the first card we're going to be creating, and this one again features the February card kit. The instructions and actual supply list is on the Hero Arts blog. So if you do happen to have your kit, you can follow along and create this card along with me. If you don't have the kit, no worries. A lot of the techniques I show work great with the kit, but also work well with other products as well. So I like to try to really pack in techniques when I do any of my classes, any of these my previous make-alongs or the Stampin' Craft. Try to get techniques in there so you guys can use them with other products as well. Hi, Paula, welcome. And then the second card we're going to create is this guy here. This one features the February clear set plus dies in the month, a really pretty set. And that's some simple Copic coloring, a little less technique heavy on that one, but I will go over how I like to Copic color, which is pretty simple. And hopefully that's helpful for anybody who's or is kind of new to alcohol markers. I use Copics, but I know there's Olos out there, which the same kind of technique would apply. And let me think here. There's one more thing I want to say. Oh, before we get going, the last thing I want to say is I will share at the end of this live a sneak peek of the upcoming March card kit of the month. So that's always a big fun reveal. I save it for the end. So just a reminder, I will be sharing that March card kit, sneak peek of that kit at the end of the live. Okay, let's switch our view here. We're going to picture in picture. Awesome. Hello, hello. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. The weather here in Arizona is amazing. I have my door open. We're getting to like 80 as a high, which is kind of my comfort zone. I don't like it too cold, but I've been very much conditioned for warmer temperatures. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with this card here. Let me put this one over here. And I'm going to grab the kit. I have February card kit here. We have this cling here. It's kind of a message set. Me too, Paula. I love all the bulbs. Me too. I think they're such a fun theme for the whole kind of February release. You get this big Heroscape in the February card kit, and that's what we're going to use to create the tulips. The background is actually where we're going to start because it's a very fun and easy faux watercolor technique. It's one of my favorite things to do with cling stamps. It can also work with regular clear stamps, but it does seem to work a little bit better with clings. The clings are one of my favorite stamps. I love the Hero Arts clings. They're so wonderful. And it's awesome that you get one in the February kit. So we're going to use that for the sky. And then we have a bunch of dies, coordinating dies for everything stuck together for the stamp set here, coordinating dies. We're basically using like everything in today's card. These dies that go as the Hero Arts cling, or the Hero Arts Heroscape. And then last, we have a bunch of word dies, and we're going to use that for our sentiments. So everything that I use, except for the inks, there are some inks that came in this kit. We're going to use some different inks today because I did a lot with the inks already that came with the kit, and I wanted to switch it up. I wanted a different look. I wanted something, just wanted yellow. That's all. I just wanted to incorporate some yellow because I love yellow. All right, let me take a little quick sip here. Beautiful in South Carolina. That's awesome. I'm so excited that we're getting into some spring weather. I love it. It's kind of my favorite time of the year, I think. That and fall. All right, let's start with the cling. Put all these other things behind me. And I'm going to grab my Misty. And we are going, oh, hi from Prescott. Hi, I love Prescott. We go to Prescott quite often. If you're not familiar, Prescott is in Arizona. It used to be the capital of Arizona. And pick it up here, Misty. This is the cling, so I did need to remove the foam. And we go there quite, because it's only like an hour away from Phoenix, which is where I'm at. All right, Tim, grab. I have some sticky here. I just use I like to use some, you could use what do they call it? A sticky mat if you prefer. I just like to use my tape runner and put some sticky down here to hold my panel in place when I stamp. That's just the easiest way for me to do it. Put that there. And I'm going to touch it a tiny bit because it's so sticky. Try to remove some of the stick. I bet it's gorgeous there. I bet it is. It's nice in Phoenix even. Yeah, I love Prescott. It's so pretty over there, and we go up there quite a lot. One of my favorite things to do for Prescott, or in Prescott, is looking for my watercolor paper, is go to the Bluegrass Festival there in the summer because it's just so nice to get out of the heat. All right. So this is a panel of Hero Arts Luxe watercolor paper. We are going to center it a little bit, but it doesn't have to be perfectly centered. You can see here there's kind of a center. This is called the Circling Clouds Cling that came in the kit. We're going to kind of center it. I'm not super worried about it. Brandon, how are you? Not gorgeous in Boston. Oops, and that did not work. Let's try that again. You know what I should do? It would be smarter. Going like this, wouldn't that be smarter? You know, sometimes those two brain cells are both firing at the same time. There we go. All right, now we're going to use some Hero Arts reactive inks. These are my, Hero Arts has several reactive inks. I think there's, I always forget the number. I think we're at like 15 different colors. Our reactive inks are a hybrid ink. They're a blend between dye and pigment. And so they stamp beautifully. They ink blend beautifully, but they're also reactive, which means they are water reactive. And we're going to take advantage of that property today for this technique. So you can do this with other water reactive inks. You don't have to have the Hero Arts reactive inks, but I might be a little biased. I think they're the best. I'm going to start with my lightest shade. Now they're all kind of comparable, and this one is actually Splash, but unfortunately I cleaned my ink cover, I guess lid, with some alcohol and it wiped off the name. So this is Splash, but we have Pool Party, Splash, and Blue Hawaii. We're going to start with the Pool Party because I feel like it's kind of the lightest shade. And I'm going to ink up this cling kind of randomly with this Pool Party color. And I don't need to do the whole stamp, but just to be safe, I'm going to ink up the whole stamp. Then we're going to grab Splash. A little here and there. I started with the lightest color because as you can see, there's going to be a little bit of cross-contamination going on with my ink pads. Just a little. I don't really worry about it very much because just a little bit is not going to show up. And we're not doing this on top of a black. You know, it's the pool, so it's very light shade already. So I'm not worried about cross-contamination. And then the last color is the Blue Hawaii. And again, I'll ink up here and there. Just get some of that color down. If I miss some spots, hopefully with the next step, that will kind of take care of that. All right, so now we've got this inked up cling. Oh, hello from Germany. I was in Germany not that long ago. Oh, it's Catherine. I met you. Hello. I believe I did, unless I got it mixed up. And then we're going to grab some water. I just have some water in a spray bottle here. We'll spritz it a little bit. Get it to kind of pool on the surface. And I'll hold it to the camera so you can see kind of what I'm looking for. There we go. Can you see how it's a little bit pooling on the surface? You got like puddles of that watered down ink. Now we're just going to flip it over and stamp. I'm going to use a scrubber block here, just to kind of like a Chucky tool. It has like a felt. It's designed to clean your stamps, and it works beautifully for that. I have one to clean my stamps. Grab it here. This is my stamp cleaning one. And then I have one that I keep clean that I use just to rub over because I just love using it this way. It's just so handy. All right, let's see how we did. Oh, it looks so good. Look at how cool that looks. And it's going to get even better as it dries. But it has this wonderful watercolor look. And the colors mixed a little bit. Let me clean up here and I'll hold it to the camera. It's so easy to do and looks incredible. And again, has that watercolor look. So that's why it's called kind of a faux watercolor technique. And we did this first to give it a little bit of time to dry, but it does dry pretty fast. And I'm going to use my tweezers, which I had somewhere. Well, I lost them already. So we'll grab my other pair. And look at how beautiful that is. So pretty. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. But where? Where can I set it aside? All right, now we're moving on to so we just stamped that background. Now we're going to move on to the tulips. So we're going to get the Heroscape, and I do need to find my foam, put that back in. Grab some white cardstock. You know, we are done with these, so I'm going to put them away. Try to be a little bit better about cleaning up as I go because it gets madness here pretty fast. All right, we'll just use a big panel. I don't need all of this, but we'll just use it. All right, let's get these out of the way. Okay. Hi, Lee. Welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Cool. There we go. So here's the Heroscape. There are, let me point it out real quick. There are 4 layers to create that whole tulip scene or tulip layer. You have a base layer for the leaves and stems. That's this right here. Then you have a detail layer for the leaves and stems. And then next up, we have the 2 layers for the tulips, base layer for the tulips, and then the detail layer for the tulips. And all those 4 stamps will make that very dimensional looking tulip scene. But you guys, I'm going to step it up a little bit. Even though the stamps, if you just used one color ink for each layer, it would look amazing. And that's actually what I did for the previous projects I created with this set. But today we're going to step it up a little bit because I cannot help myself. I have to make things more complicated. But I think it's going to add and make it look even more dimensional. We're going to add gradations. It's probably my favorite thing to do with, it is 100%. It's my favorite thing to do with the Heroscapes, is pop in these little gradations on the stamp or on the layer, and it just adds a lot to the dimension. Really steps it up. All right, we're going to place this down. There we go. Pick it up. Mindy! Mindy's a master with the Heroscapes. How are you, friend? Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I know you're busy. because I should be busy with the same thing I know you have to work on. All right, so we're going to start by inking this base layer up with a green. I have picked green apple. It's this nice, bright, kind of citrus looking, lime looking green. I'm just going to start by inking up the whole stamp with this color. And I will just say, for the technique that I'm going to show you, which is creating these gradations, you need a MISTI to do it, because you're going to stamp the stamp multiple times and it has to stay in that same spot each time. All right. And that did not stamp the best. I think I probably needed to press it a little bit harder, but that's okay. There we go. You know, I don't think I need all of these magnets. I think I'm getting a little magnet crazy. Let's put some of them aside. Let's try that again. Oh, I did not realize this was a hybrid ink. This is one of our core inks, so this is not a reactive ink. Don't get it confused with the actual green apple reactive ink, which is a much darker kind of color, more of a Kelly green. All right. I think I should have re-inked this before the live, but I didn't. So unfortunately, I'm going to stamp this several times to get it to the right color. We're almost there. All right. Oh, yes. Can you tell? I get impatient. Brennan, I get a little impatient with the inking. At first, I'm like, oh, I can just take it, go lightly. And then I realize, oh, I cannot. All right, this will be the last time, I think. All right, now we're going to move on to a darker shade. This is Fresh Lawn. This is also a core ink. So all the inks I'm actually going to use for the tulip layer are going to be core inks, just because the core inks have, I think there's like 58 colors. There's a lot of colors, plenty of options, so a lot to choose from. That's kind of why I tend to go to the core inks if I'm using the Heroscapes, because I want to be able to have more variety in my color choices. So now we're going to partially ink up. Now this Fresh Lawn is a darker shade than what we just stamped in, and we're going to partially ink up this stamp. I have my ink pad kind of angled a little bit, and you know what? If I put some white cardstock under here, you might be able to see it a little bit better. Can you see that darker green? Let's turn this. Let's not use this piece, actually, because that's pieces for later. Here we go. We'll stick this underneath. There we go. And partially ink up all the sides. You see I'm only getting that ink there around the edges. Perfect. Now I'm going to take a blending brush just to soften the edge. I'm just tapping that edge where I stopped inking, where the ink stops. Just tapping it a little bit with my blending brush. That's going to soften it. So if I do have any harsh lines from the ink pad, that'll remove that. It does pick up the color, so it is lightening it a bit too, but it's also, more importantly, removing those harsh lines. There we go. Let's place that down and grab this guy. See how we did here. Pretty good. And I think I'm going to ink up one more time with green apple. My poor dry ink pad. And that'll kind of even it out a little bit. And we do have another layer that's going on top of this. So if it's not the smoothest gradation, which this one admittedly is not, I think that fresh lawn was juicier than I expected, especially after this green apple being on the drier side. But that second layer will also really kind of hide any little imperfections, but you'll still get that depth. All right. Why can't I get this one spot? You, right there. You're the problem. There we go. Somehow I'm not really getting ink on it. All right. That completes our base layer for the leaves and stems. Yes, the ombre ink pads are awesome. He needs a spa day real bad. Me and that ink pad need a spa day. Only one of us is going to get it though, and I think it is going to be the ink pad. Yes, the ombre ink pads have lots of purposes. They work beautifully with the Heroscape, so it's a great thing, Lee, you brought it up. I don't have a lot of ombre ink pads, but you know what? I will pull out one of them and stamp to kind of show you how they work with the Heroscapes, because they really are a match made in heaven, is the Heroscapes and the ombre ink pads. But I just didn't have my ombre ink pad collection is not as great as I wish it would be, and I hope in the future that we make even more at Hero than what we already have. But so this is the detail layer for the leaves and stems. But I just didn't have any ombres that I felt like worked well with this set, so I didn't choose an ombre ink pad. But I have a whole video on Hero Art's YouTube channel about ombre ink pads and how to use them. And even though I don't focus on the Heroscapes in that video, but I show a bunch of ways to use them. They're awesome. I love them a lot. They're very cool, and I think they get forgotten often. Oh, don't ask for a neck massage. Yeah. Stamping can be a workout. I agree. Okay, so we're going back to, especially when your ink pad is on the drier side. We're not using this guy. We're done with green apple. Woohoo! We're on back to fresh lawn. So this is our medium shade. We actually will end up using 3 shades of green, a light, a medium, and a dark. But we're done with our light for now. We're on to our medium. And even though we just did a little bit at the sides, we're going to stamp the whole thing. No worries. I know, Lee. It just auto-corrects that way. It auto-corrects to Channing. When you have a unique spelling name, you're used to your name being spelled wrong all the time. And for me, it's not a big deal. I don't really care. All right, so I'm just going to ink this up and stamp it a couple of times. I don't think we'll have to do nearly as many times as we had to do with the green apple. All right, we're getting there. I want to build up that contrast. Not getting quite enough contrast yet to my liking. But we're almost there. And these detail layers are so fun to stamp because they really start to like add that depth. A tarantula. Oh, that would be pretty embarrassing. I agree. I'd be like, no, that's not what I meant. The autocorrect is, I swear autocorrect hates us, is out to get us, because it is always sabotaging in the worst ways. The worst ways. All right. He's so juicy and sometimes not juicy. What's up with you? Did I re-ink you and I just did a bad job? Maybe that's what happened. All right, perfect. Now we're going to move on to the darker shade, Pine. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the Fresh Lawn on the base layer where we inked up the sides partially. We're going to do the same thing here. And you know what? It is really helpful for me too, not just for you guys to see. It's helpful for me to see where I've inked up. So that white cardstock underneath is really helpful. And switch it around here. Okie doke. And then I'll take my blending brush and soften it just a bit. Again, I don't want any harsh lines from the ink pad. It will really ruin that illusion. Oh, great. I'm glad you're here, Sheila. Awesome. I'm glad you caught the live too. Oh, Kathy. Awesome. And let's do one more time, but it's looking so good already. Let's see if I can hold up so you guys can see. Can you see that kind of gradation where it looks like it's subtle? Admittedly, it's subtle, but it's like lighter and then starts to get darker. It just has much more depth and interest. Oh, wow. That's awesome, David. I think we're going to take a spring break trip to New Mexico. I'm so excited. I think we're going to go to Santa Fe. I want to check out a bunch of stuff there. But one of the things we definitely want to do too is the Meow Wolf in Santa Fe. Thank you, Jan. And let's see. Again, I'm just going to soften just to be careful. Sometimes I forget to do this and then I get so mad at myself that I didn't take that one little step to soften, and then because I have a harsh line. And this technique that I'm doing to create a gradation can be done on any of your stamps. Works best on solid stamps because then you'll notice it better, but it can be done on more linear stamps as well. Oh, it looks so good. Look at that. Oh, it looks amazing. I love it. All right, we are done with that. So basically what I did with the inks and the blending brush and creating this gradation, the ombre ink pad will do for you like automatically. So it's a lot easier. The only problem is you're limited to your ink choices are limited because your only options are what the ombre ink pad is made of. But it's a lot easier and you get even smoother gradations, I think. So that's why I think they're so meant to be, the Heroscapes and the ombre ink pads. Oops. And let's see if I can grab one of my ombre ink pads real quick. Here we go. I kind of grabbed these and now there's something was on top of it. Now they're all precariously, it looks like something's going to fall. We'll see. So if there's a loud sound, you hear a loud crash, that might be some of my things falling. So these are the ombre ink pads I have. I just didn't feel like I had a color, though this would be really pretty for the tulips. That could work too. Oh, I do have this one, but it's neon. Again, not quite the colors that I want to go with. You can see here, let's pull out my swatches so you can kind of see. This one's one of my favorites. See how wonderful this would be with, where'd he go? Here he is. That's this one. He would be great for greenery. But again, I wanted more bright colors for this palette. This is one of the neon ones. Very pretty. Just had that blue in there. This one's a gorgeous one. So pretty. See the gradation it's creating on that leaf? They're really awesome and they're so easy to do. And it's very easy to stamp and it's seamless, right? There's no, you don't have to do that step with the blending brush. Just the process is awesome. Yes, right? If you don't have an avalanche, are you really a crafter? If you don't have an avalanche of supplies. There's another one. This one's gorgeous. This one's more on the subtle side, I think, but still, you can see that ombre. This one's probably my most favorite one. So pretty. Yeah, they're amazing. And here's that one. You see how it's very neon? It's not quite the palette I was going for today. It's going yellow, but more like buttery yellow. But these work great. And show you, let's just for funsies, let's do this base layer. And you know what? I'm going to do it in that neon one that's kind of similar. Show you how easy it is. So pick that up. There we go. We're going to do that one. And where are we going to put these? On the ground. That's where we're going to put them, on the ground. And again, this is what it looks like. Kind of similar, but definitely much more on that neon side. Now, I can't do the gradation like I did before on the sides. The gradation is going to have to be this way, like this, because this is what the ink pad looks like. So I'm going to go, I'm going to turn it around so it's less confusing for you guys. I want the top to be lighter. I want the top to be this color, the middle section to be this color, and the bottom to be that blue. So I'm going to go like this. And when I ink up my stamp, I'm going to go do a shuffle, little shuffle back and forth this way, like that, when I ink up the stamp. And that little shuffle is how we're going to get that gradation. So make sure I got all that inked up. Am I talking fast? I'm sorry, Lee. I didn't realize I was. There we go. Where's my, here it is. I'll try to slow down. Do you see the ombre? And it was basically like one step. We just inked it up with that, that ombre ink pad. I don't know why my brain just broke. All right, and I can do it one more time to make it a little bolder and crisper, but isn't that cool? See how this is just, it's like they're meant to be together. And it's especially cool for the more solid stamp in your layering set. There you go. So there's that ombre, nice and easy. So again, The ombre ink pads are awesome. I love them. They're great. They really are a match made in heaven with the Heroescapes. But you don't have to have them like what we're doing today. We're going to create this beautiful ombre look just with our ink pads. All right, and then I'm going to now move on to the tulips. And Lee, I encourage you, I do a video. There's a video on Hero Arts on the website. So if you just do a search for Hero Arts Ombre, you should be able to find my video. And I kind of go over lots of ways to use the ombre ink pads. Aren't the tulips so pretty? All right, I'm having a hard time. I should just take that plastic layer off. Let's take that guy back and we'll grab the base of the tulips. I'm loving this layer. It looks so good. So good. And these Heroescapes, this set is very easy to line up. Very, very easy. I'm going to look through the stamp and I want to see it kind of touch a little bit of the green of the stems. I am going to lean over here and get my head in there just so I can see. I think we're there. I think it's lined up. So I'm going to pick it up. Awesomely. Yeah, check that out. I hope that will be a helpful video for you. I show a lot of techniques with ombre ink pads in that video. I think they're awesome. I love them. All right, just like with the leaves and stems, we have 3 greens. We're going to have 3 yellows as well. We're going to start with dandelion. That's our light. Butter bar will be our medium. And then our dark will be fawn, which is very close to a brown. I'm going to start by inking up these tulips in that dandelion, our light yellow. So you can kind of see my general way of thinking. The base layer is always going to be your lightest shade. This almost looks like it shifted on me, but I'm going to trust the process. Trust that I did it right. Famous last words, right? Oh, so good already. Yes, that's definitely, I think, what it's like. It's like laying down. That's the perspective I think the designers of this set was thinking of, that cling with this Heroescape, kind of like you're laying down in the grass and looking up at the sky. And I think that's such a fun and unique perspective. Beautiful, so bright and pretty. Gosh, that yellow is yummy. I love it. I think that's all I need to do. Now we're going on to Butter Bar, which is our medium shade. And again, I'm going to do that partial inking. Let's pop this underneath so we can kind of see. I'm focusing on this bottom edge. That's where I want my Butter Bar to be. This one's going to be harder for you guys to see because the Butter Bar is not that much darker than the dandelion. And since they are so close, they're not too different, I'm not even going to bother with softening it with the blending brush. I think I could get away with it. Let's see. Oh yeah, that looks so good. You can kind of see that gradation already starting to form. A couple more layers, maybe just one more will be all we need. Again, angling my ink pad, so I'm only touching. It may look on camera that I'm completely inking up the stamp, but I am angling it. So only a small portion of that stamp gets inked up with that color. And we're going to do this again. This ombre inking when we get to the balloons as well. So I think I'm happy with that. I think it has a beautiful gradation. I might just do this side here a little bit more. Needs a little bit more. A little bit more of that butter bar. Did I do anything? Why don't I see it? Oh, I'm inking up the wrong side. Oh, you guys, my brain. I'm doing that side great. I got to do this one here for that. That was pretty silly. Thank you. You guys caught my mistake. You guys are pros. One more time. There we go. Oh, I'm much happier with that. There we go. It's so pretty. Okay. Let's clean the stamp. We're done with the base layer. Now we're going to move on to the detail layer. And I'm actually just going to stamp the detail layer. No, I'm going to do two inks. I'll do two. So this is the detail layer for the tulips. This is our last layer. I think we are lined up. Pop this back into the corner. Those stamps are still sticky. Here we go. And we're going to start with our medium shade again, which was Butter Bar. You can see how this is such a warm yellow. I really think it's such a pretty color. Pretty tulips. What are you guys' favorite flowers? Do you have a favorite flower? Yeah, right, Lee. Don't throw them away because of little mistakes. That's what gems are for, sequins. Maybe that's where you put a die cut, like a little butterfly. Butterflies are great for hiding mistakes. And they almost make sense in lots of different settings. Or a flower, die cut flower. Oh, it's looking so good. Hydrangeas and hyacinth. Those are so pretty. Hydrangeas are my sister's favorite too. I guess I'm a simplest. I think roses are still my favorite. Roses and daisies. I like daisies a lot too. We're getting there. I think one more time. Roses and sunflowers. I love sunflowers as well. Carnations. I think those do not get enough love, and I think they're very pretty. I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think carnations are really pretty, and they've kind of just never were appreciated. I think because they usually tend to be like the ones you can always find. They're usually on the cheaper side, but they're actually really pretty flowers. Sweet pea. More carnation love. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Sweet peas are pretty. Okay, I went over the top with Butter Bar, but we got lots of contrast. It looks so good. Now we're going to finish it up with, again, creating a little gradation with our fawn. Partially ink it up. And again, I'm going to be risky. And I'm not going to bother softening the edge. Orchids, irises. Oh, you have an allergy to scents. Interesting. I didn't realize that people could have allergy to floral scents, but totally makes sense. Because if you can have allergies to perfumes, right? We're getting there. I'm going to do one more layer. But it's looking so yummy, so pretty. All right, I'm happy with that. I love it. It looks great. Hold up to the camera so you can see. Look at that beautiful ombre and gradation. These just have, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out another card that I made where I stamped it and I didn't do any of that ombre inking. And it's super pretty, but it just doesn't have that depth. I mean, I can't say it's like a photograph, but it's closer. The realism is definitely there. Do you see the difference? Even though this is beautiful, and all I did was just stamp each layer in a different ink. No, none of that ombre inking like we did here. But look at it. It just, like I said, takes it to the next level. And again, this ombre inking technique, which you saw me do for all 4 layers, I did the ombre inking, can be done on any stamp set. Any stamp set you have. Works best, I think, for solids because you see that gradation better, but so cool. Okay, I'll put this away. Let's die cut this out. I'm gonna do a quick clean, put it away. And, oh, you know what I will do real quick though, I think, is actually stamp my butterfly so I can do all my die cutting at the same time, sort of. Oh, you know, we have, I take it back, we got balloons to do. We'll do the butterfly when we do the balloons. But let's die cut this out. So I got to find the coordinating dies back here. And this guy's drying very lovely. Here it is. Okay, so these are the coordinating dies for the Heroescape set included in the February card kit. We're going to grab this die here. That's the one that cuts out these tulips. Let's get this out of the way. Put that over there. Okie dokie. Line this up. Get some tape to hold it in place. Yes, I think I definitely think that cloud stamp could be used for water as well, which I didn't think of, but somebody mentioned it once in, I think the live where I showed the whole kit or the whole release actually. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. I definitely think it could be used for water too. Okay, my laptop is now my drying. That's probably not a good idea, but that's where I'm going to put all my things now. Get it out of the way. All right, just ran it through my die cutting machine. I'm sure you can tell that this die will not cut out the bottom, so we have to do that with our paper trimmer. There we go. Look at how incredible that looks. So the paper trimmer is what I'll use to just cut off that. It's where I end up with a little sliver at the bottom. I'll trim that off with my paper trimmer. So good. Okay, we'll put that aside for now. I'll take care of that later. Let's stamp our balloons. I have 3 balloons. I turned this into a birthday card, right? Sort of. I said, the card says, hey there, let's enjoy the day. So kind of like a birthday card, especially with the balloons, I think. I'm just going to flip this over. We'll use the back side. And now we're going to grab the other stamp set that came with the kit, which is, we're calling it the messages set because there's a lot of messages on this set, but there's not only messages, there's also a couple images. We have birds, this airplane, and this balloon. Somehow I have 2 of this stamp. I'm going to grab this one where this one's actually used, as you can see. All right, we're going to pull that down. There we go. Put that over there. And just place this balloon. the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the balloon. And let me grab the card here so you can see. I'm going to stamp the balloon and then we'll stamp the string. And I get that gradation made and created on the balloon, and then we'll do the string. Now, I'm a little bit worried about this ink on here. I think I may have not cleaned it well. So what I'm going to do is ink this up with Dandelion, which is the color I'm eventually going to use, and stamp it a couple times on some scrap paper just to kind of clean the stamp a little bit. So, oh, and look at it, it looks great. So I was worrying for nothing. It just looked so stained. I wasn't sure if I did a good job cleaning it when I put it away. So I am going to, I can just go ahead and use it. That was a good little test. Looks fine. Some of these core inks have a tendency to kind of really stay on the surface of your stamp, and even when you clean them, unless you clean them well, like with a stamp cleaner, it's still there on the stamp. And when you ink the stamp up with a different color, and especially a light color, and stamp it, you might see that a little bit of that previous color still on the stamp. So I wasn't sure if I actually cleaned the stamp well, meaning did I use a stamp cleaner or just wipe it with water? But it looks like I cleaned it well. Let's see. Paula says you could do it in pink and cut it as frosting. Oh my gosh, it totally looks like frosting, that cloud cling. I didn't even think about that either. It totally looks like frosting. I'm going to start simply by inking up the balloon, and I probably inked up some of the string. I'm not worried about inking up the string because I'll stamp over it with black when we get to that point, and it'll cover up any yellow or orange or whatever color I get on the string. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to do it one more time. Probably overkill. All right, and then we're going to go on to Butter Bar, which is our medium yellow, and partially ink up this stamp. And let's put some white cardstock underneath. Maybe you'll see, maybe you won't see. I kind of just stuck with one side just because it was easier for me to reach. Partially ink this up. I am not going to even bother with the blending brush. I feel like this color is pretty close. Oh my gosh, it looks so good already. This is really what's giving that balloon that three-dimensional look, because this stamp is just one layer. There is no additional layers like with the Heroscape. So this ombre inking is really doing all the heavy lifting to make it look three-dimensional. Just did it one more time, and I love that. Look at that. So cool. Very, very easy. All right. One balloon done. Now I'm going to ink it up in this intensified black. Really, any black will do. This happens to be my favorite. All right, I'm going to turn the whole misty around here because I'm going to have to get my head down in here and really see. I could put a little piece of, you know what? Let's be smart. Let's work smarter, not harder. That is not that should be my motto, but it's not. We'll put a little paper down. I just eyeballed it when I made it originally. Let's put a little mask down. That'll just make things so much easier. There we go. So a little sticky note, which my kids are telling me I need batteries, but I can't throw this away. They use my full adhesive sticky note. So I gotta save that and use that again. Oh, okay, perfect. And I put that back, ink it up again. Just because it's a little splotchy. That looks incredible. Look at that balloon. It looks so good. Love it. All right, get a quick wipe down. I'm not going to clean this with the stamp cleaner because we're now moving on to darker shades, and I'm not worried about any leftover dandelion or butter bar being on the stamp. The darker shades are going to get rid of it completely. Put that there. Pick it up. Oop, he was a little wet. It's fine. It's fine. We're going to ink this up now with our butter bar. Ink up the whole thing. So this is our medium yellow, which is what we used for that darker shade there. Hello, Mary. Welcome. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. There we go. I think after this live, I'm going to have some lunch, head over to my mom's, and we're going to play some games. I'm very excited. We're going to play games outside, which has got to be probably one of my most favorite things in the world to do. And when I mean games, I mean board games. I love board games. Do any of you guys play board games? Okay, so we're now moving on to our fawn, which is our darkest yellow. And I will pop this underneath so you can maybe see me partially inking up that side. Nope. The stamp is just a little too stained, I think. Our current favorite right now for board games is, what is it, brain? Verdancy, which is a plant game. We do outside a lot when we camp. Oh yes, Jan, we play when we camp too. We play board games. That's basically why we camp, is so we can play board games outside. We love it. In fact, at the Bluegrass Festival, Jan, my family's always out there at the festival playing board games, listening to the bluegrass music. We love it. All right, and I'm going to place this down and ink this up again. Perfect little ombre balloon. No matter what board game we play, my aunt always wins. Oh my gosh, because she cheated. Oh no. We played Trouble, Life, and Monopoly. Cheating. Not okay. I would have a hard time playing if somebody cheated. I'll say that much. I like Life. We played that with my kids for a while. I'm not the biggest fan of Monopoly. But what was the other one? Trouble I never owned and played. I always wanted to play that one, though. It looked like so much fun from the commercials. All right, we have one more balloon to do. Okay, the next balloon, we ran out of yellows. If you may or may not have noticed, we're out of yellows. We've used all three of our yellow shades, our light, our medium, and our dark. Our next one will be some oranges. Don't think it's too much of a stretch to bring some orange into this palette because it's pretty simple. See, here's our orange balloon we're going to create, but I balanced it by making a little orange butterfly. All right, here we go. We'll start with, we have two orange picked out because we need a light and a dark to create the ombre. Starting out with papaya, which is our light, then we'll move on to pumpkin. There we go. Do one more time. Perfect. And then pumpkin. Pumpkin is a beautiful color, one of my favorites. Partially ink up this stamp with that pumpkin. Oh my gosh, it's looking so good. I can already see the gradation growing. Oh, she didn't cheat on purpose. I see now. She didn't cheat. It's just, she had to have, right? She won all the time. I totally get it. I do not win all the time, but I do win a lot of the time, but not all the time. There's some games I'm terrible at. Like, I never win. And one of those games is Poetry for Neanderthals. You've never heard of that game. It's a very funny game. You have to, it's kind of like charades where you have a clue. You have a card that you want the player, your team to guess, like a phrase. There we go. Like a phrase you need your team to guess. Instead of acting out the phrase, you say it, but you can only say it in single syllable words. So like man, eat, dance, play, whatever the phrase is, you're going to only describe the phrase with single syllable words. And if you accidentally say a 2-syllable word, you get hit on the head with a blow up club. Very funny game. I get hit on the head a ton of times because that is not my skill set, is sticking to single syllable words. Ooh, that looks so good. Last one. Always gotta make sure we remove that. Yeah, you gotta find that game. It's great for big groups too, because you can kind of have your team sizes, whatever size you want. You can be played in small groups as well, but I have a big family, and so we're always struggling to find games that we can play with a big group of people. Sorry, I had to take a drink real quick. Okay, let's stamp our butterfly, and then we're on home stretch, believe it or not. We just have a sentiments to do. Here we go. Now the butterfly is back on that Heroscape stamp set. And he was actually falling off constantly. There's 3 butterflies, but we're going to do the smallest one. Just stick him anywhere. I think he's falling off because I can feel he's pretty dirty. I need to clean him. And we're going to stamp him in that intensified black ink. Intensified black ink is a hybrid ink. Stamps beautifully, but most importantly, this is a waterproof, awesome, but for what we're going to do next for this butterfly is actually Copic color it. So it's actually also a alcohol friendly ink as well. So this is just a great all around ink. Perfect for so many things. I use it for watercoloring, often Copic coloring or alcohol marker coloring. It's a really great black ink. One more time. Body looks a little splotchy. There we go. All right, so now we're going to die cut all of these out. Let's put the butterfly away. I'll Copic color it after I die cut it. Usually I Copic color before I die, but I want to give some time for that ink to dry before I color on it with my alcohol markers. That's the only catch, is you got to make sure your ink is completely dry before you try to color with your alcohol markers. Let's get all of these inks out of here, because we are done with them. Get them out of the way so they're not crowding my space. Wait, we're done with that. Put that behind me. We need the dies. Okay, here's the dies for that message set. There's dies for the balloon, the airplane, and 3 of the large sentiments. And I also need the dies for the Heroscape set. And since I had those out earlier, that means they now are lost. Where did I put them? Oh, there they are. I put them back. Get that butterfly. Stick this back on there. I'm doing so much better today. Keeping my things in place. Can you heat emboss with the hybrid inks? Yes, you can, but they're not. You'll have some embossing powder stick because they are a hybrid. They have some of that pigment. And then this is if you're talking about the hybrid reactive inks, which I showed at the very beginning. These guys, not the core. What I'm going to say, so the hybrid reactive, yes, you can probably get a little bit of embossing powder to stick and you could emboss with them. Especially if you stamp them multiple times and you build up that ink. Because of that pigment ink in there, they take longer to dry, so they're going to be wet longer, and again, meaning that embossing powder will stick. Pigment, just pure pigment inks, which we have at Hero, we have a line of just pigment inks. Those would work even better, though. They would work even better than these reactive inks. The core inks, which were the yellows, the greens, the oranges that I used to stamp the balloons and the tulips, those, on the other hand, wouldn't work well for embossing. Those core inks dry pretty fast, even though some of them are hybrid, but they're not a hybrid with a pigment. Sorry, I feel like that's very confusing. I hope that helps a little bit. So some of those core inks are a hybrid ink, meaning they are dye, possibly alcohol ink as well. So not the core, but the reactive, you could probably get away with it. Definitely our pigment inks, you can. But as far as hybrids, I would say the reactive inks you can do it a little bit with. And if you ever need to know if any of what your core ink is, whether it is, so here's some of those core inks I used earlier, and this is a great example. You can flip it over the ink pad. At the top, you'll say core ink. And again, the core inks, we have a lot of different shades. These are all the shades of the core inks. So lots of different shades to choose from. Sorry for my very messy swatch book, but that's what I use. That's like my Bible for inks anyways. And if you flip the ink pads over, you'll see, and this is pine right here, the darker one. At the top, you'll see underneath where it says core. I'm trying to get to focus. Too close. This says hybrid. Sorry, I can't put it up closer to the camera, but that says hybrid. So this one is a hybrid ink, but not pigment. Not pigment. I know a lot of people have got, me included, get the hybrid confused with its dye and pigment. Well, not always. Not always. And with the core, these are not pigment. And then this one, here's another core. This one's Fresh Lawn. As I throw the ink pad, sorry. Fresh Lawn. Here you can see it says dye. So hope that helps a little bit. I'm always happy to answer any ink questions you have. I know the Hero Arts pretty well. All right. We're going to die cut this out. But the reactive, again, and they're my favorite. I love the Hero Arts reactive inks because there's so many fun techniques you can do with them. They are a hybrid of dye and pigment. Where'd it go? Here it is. One balloon down. 2 more to go. Let's get that up. Oh, my tape is so sticky. Has anybody got their card kit yet? Does any of you guys get the February card kit? And have you received it yet? I think they started shipping them out last week, but I'm not sure. Oh, Jan, you have yours? Yay! That's so exciting. There's so much in that kit. They're just jam-packed, and I can't wait to show you Marches. March is also packed with products. They're really good bang for your buck. Oh, Beth, you got yours? Oh, awesome. Oh, I'm so glad to hear you guys got them. Yay, that makes me so happy to hear. That's so awesome. So you guys could potentially be crafting along. That is awesome. Though sometimes it's fun, even if you can craft along, to kind of watch, participate in the comments, but you know, get your bearings around the sets a little bit. I know that's what I like to do a lot of times when I watch the lives, is just kind of watch and comment and then craft, you know, do the project kind of afterwards. Haven't received yours yet. Hopefully very, very soon. Joe, hopefully very, very soon. Oops. Like I said, they just started, I believe they just started shipping them out. We had some delays because of Chinese New Year. Some of our products did not get on the ship before Chinese New Year. So that set us back a little bit. But the rest of the products were ready to go, just some of the dies. All right. Okay. So we are now on to sentiments. I'm going to let this guy dry a little bit more before I attempt to Copic color him. So I'll put these up and away. Sentiments. This is probably my most favorite part of the kit, which are these word dies, just because I know I'm going to use them a ton. I love the way they look. I love the scale and the fact that they have this. Oh, you're so wonderful, Joe. Thank you for being so patient. You guys have been so patient with all the shipping things that we've had going on over the last couple months. And I cannot tell you guys again how much I appreciate you guys being patient. And this is not how it's should be. And we have been working very hard to fix the things on our end so it doesn't happen like this again. So I can't apologize enough. You guys have been so wonderful, and just really appreciative of you guys, because I know it's hard to wait and not know what's going on, which we didn't know what was going on for a while too, which is definitely not very reassuring. But I think we're finally turning the corner. Is this big enough? It's big enough. And it'll be so much better in the future. They put in new software. I'm sure you guys have heard. We put in new software for the warehouse to keep things organized. And there was very many hiccups there with that. And then there was like and I think they're still working through some of the hiccups, but they're figuring out solutions, and hopefully we'll get them completely eradicated so some of the problems don't ever happen anymore. But you know, tech sometimes, right? So the shadow layer I die cut out of white cardstock. For the actual word die, I'm going to die cut out of black, which I have some here ready to go. It says, "Hey there." It's so cute. And I just love the scale of these. I want to keep these, you know how some people have, I don't have one of these and I wish I did. I'm regretful that I don't. They have a magnetic, like, almost like, think of like a bulletin board, a cork board. They have a magnetic board behind them, and they stick their like most used dies. These word dies would be one of my sets that I'd have out there for sure. That's how much I could see myself using these. They would be a staple for me. All right, he's stuck a little bit. There we go. We can pry him off. Look at that. Hey there. It looks so good. Oh my gosh. Love it. And it's just going to pop even more when we put it on our white shadow layer. I mean, look at that. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. And there's 3 other word dies. There's 3 other ones. Like, I would have been happy with just this one, but there's 3 other ones. I was going to show them to you, but of course I've lost them. All right, and that last part of our sentiment, we are almost ready to put this whole thing together, except for some really quick Copic coloring, which we could actually probably do once the stamp. I know the font is so good, right, man? It's so good. Oh, grab this black cardstock. Oh, here they are. Yeah, here's the other ones. There's thanks, smile. Love that smile. I just love the way it looks. And then miss you. And they all have that shadow layer die. Oops. Look at that. We got stuck. All right. So we're going to do a quick sub-sentiment to go with our hey there. I believe it's from the message set, the let's enjoy the day. Yep, there it is. Let's enjoy the day. Let's find a spot here. We'll do it right underneath. There we go. Let's put that aside. And we'll grab, we're going to do some heat embossing, obviously, because it's black. Put down some anti-static powder. I'm going to ink up my stamp in Hero Art's Unicorn Pigment ink. So a pigment ink here. That's because I'm going to do white heat embossing. And I love, this is a trick I learned from Mindy. I love stamping it in white and then putting the white heat embossing powder over, because if there's any breaks in the heat embossing, the powder sometimes pulls apart a little bit as it heats up and melts. It might not completely be a flat surface. The white embossing powder or the white ink really helps to kind of minimize that cracking look you might get. Yes, and I'm spending much of time inking up the Misty instead of the stamp. My mat is very well loved. All my things are very well loved and used. They get a workout. They get a workout, my products. That's why my ink pad needs a spa day, because he has been basically used and abused. I wish I was more precious with my supplies. I mean, I'm conservative with how much I use, but I'm not gentle with how I use my supplies. I'm a little bit rough, and I don't know why that is. So my poor things need to learn to get a little bit of abuse. But I can tell you that I've tested. That will tell you how well they hold up, because again, like I said, I'm pretty rough with them. All right, I poured the embossing powder, or dipped it in rather, and now I'm going to heat set with my heat tool. There we go. There it is. It's absolutely perfect. Now we will trim it down. I like to use my Purpose. I like that. Rough seems really bad, right? I'm like, gosh, I don't want to say abusive, but like rough kind of leads you to that descriptor. I really like that, Paula, with purpose. So much better. Thank you. I like that way of saying it. All right, I have a magnetic ruler and cutting mat, I guess this is what you'd call it. So they're both magnetic. This is from We Are Memory Keepers. I really like this little cutting mat, I guess, or this is my favorite method for cutting my sentiment strips. And don't be too impressed. I usually cannot cut a straight line for the life of me, but the fact that it's magnetic really helps. And also I feel like I get the spacing better above and below the sentiments, the stamp sentiment, when I do it this way versus a paper trimmer. Even though Jennifer has an amazing trick for that with a Post-it note, I just haven't learned it yet, employed it yet, which is silly because I'm going to have to get my paper trimmer over here anyways because we still have to trim this. But we are home stretch. You know what? We're going to do this. I'm not going to get the paper trimmer. I'm too lazy. We're going to trim it this way. Okay. I don't want to get up again. There we go. Perfect. Let's put this card together. All right, I have a card base ready to go. So proud of myself. I had that ready to go this time. We have our panel dried, sentiments. We'll have to put those, glue those together, but we're almost there. Our balloons and our little butterfly, which we still have to color, but we'll get to that. And I have my front door open, so if you hear any sounds like dogs barking, that is probably why. I guess it's just such a nice day. We couldn't resist. All right, let's grab some liquid glue. All right. Start by simply gluing our, trying to decide which one I like better. We'll do it this way. Not that it matters much. Hold it there for just a second. And you know, I'm going to put my die cutting board on there just to weight it down, and I'll glue these while we're waiting for that to dry. All right. Just a little dabs of glue. Stick that down. Looks so good. Oops. Clumsy, clumsy, clumsy Shannon. There we go. But it's okay. Love that. Again, looks so good. There. Perfect. And I think that's dry enough. I'm going to glue. You could pop this layer up with foam adhesive, but I chose to just kind of glue it down. So that's what I'm going to do again. And I'm noticing my card base is a little wonky. So after I glue this down, I'm going to cut that off. I'll do that with a pair of big scissors. And I just kind of nestle the scissors under the top layers, and then those become the edge, and you'll never know that anything was off. Perfect. All right. And I could kind of do it on this side too. Let's go for it. So there's our little scene. Now we need to kind of put everything together. And I'm going to grab my original to kind of put it side by side. It just helps me to get everything figured out. And you know what? I think we'll do press and seal. That will make it very easy. So I'll put these balloons, kind of arrange them where we want them to go. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Oh, that's cute. Okay, happy with that. Now we'll arrange our sub sentiment. I do need to trim it down just a bit. There we go. And I think this needs to be moved up a tiny bit more. Make some room for that sub sentiment to go. And I gotta get up and get my press and seal. Question is, where did it go? Here it is. Always kind of floats around. And I'll do the butterfly last. I'm not so worried about positioning him. Pick those up, flip them over, and now we'll add foam adhesive to the back side, which I grabbed for the live. I like to do some just to kind of hold everything in place. So I'm placing it over those balloon strings that kind of hold those in place. Put some over these balloon strings. It's like doing double duty, holding those balloons, those die cuts in place where I want them. And then obviously providing that dimension. All right, and then for the balloons, we'll add a little foam adhesive behind them. There we go. One more piece there, and then one for that sentiment strip. Oh, just a hair too big. I mean, really close. Now remove the backing on these. And everything's held together really nicely by that foam adhesive. So even at this point, if something comes off of the press and seal, I don't even have to worry about it. Everything's locked in. Remove the backing. Yes, isn't it, Lee? I learned that from, let me stand up to do this. I learned that from Mindy, and it's been almost a game changer. I love it, that technique, that trick. And speaking of tricks, the standing up to get things centered is one I learned from Kathy Zilski. So super handy. There we go. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. All that color. And then we have a little spot here for our butterfly. Let's color him. I just am using 2 Copics a light orange and a dark orange, kind of channeling that orange balloon again, because that's how I'm incorporating that color. So I'll start with the light. This is YR00. Color all the wings in that light orange. And then we'll move on to our darker orange, and I'm going to color the center. Let's see. And let's put it down. I can't color and hold up, even though sometimes I do. I'm just going to simply kind of color the center, but not all the way out. I'll hold it to the camera once I color these two wings. So just the center, stopped about a third of the way from the edge. And then you can take your light and just blend it off up a little bit, soften it a tiny bit. And that's our finished butterfly. Super simple. And I'm going to pop him up with foam adhesive. And we will be done with this card. So yes, this card used basically everything, I think, except for the inks included in the card kit, which again, if you want to see examples of the inks, check out my other videos on the Hero Arts YouTube channel. There's one for the card kit that I show you how I made this card here, so you can check that out. And these were all the inks included in the card kit for the tulips. So if you want to see how those work with the set, check out that video. And there it is, all done. Oh, it's so pretty. Such a fun card. Very bright and cheery. Love that. So that completes our card featuring the February card kit. Now we're going to move on to a second card. This is like the bonus card. This card features the February clear stamp plus dies of the month. I had to pick that because, you guys, the February fancy dies and the February, what is the other one? Layering stencils sold out. So I didn't want anybody to be disappointed. So I picked a February product that we still have in stock. So just in case. But I love this one. Oh, so pretty. I need to ask if they could ship the kit later since I'm going on vacation. I would be afraid it gets to Germany while I'm gone. You know, that is a great question. Email info@heroarts.com. I'll put it in the thing. That is the best way to figure that out, if they can do that. info@hero, I mean, putting it in the chat, arts.com. There you go. Just let them know. Maybe have your order number. If that, I don't even know if you have that for the kits, but let them know and let's see if they can do that for you. All right, so this features, again, like I was saying, the February clear set plus dies of the month, which I have here. I think this is such a sweet little set, and the sentiments in this set are awesome. They're beautiful. They have coordinating dies for the sentiments. So it is those sentiments are going to be used for lots of different things. On top of the images just being very pretty. So here's the stamp set. And let's get some white cardstock so you can actually see it. Look at that pretty set. Very, again, focused on the bulb kind of theme. Lots of pretty flowers. And you even have a bulb that you can use to add to these. So I love that flexibility there. You don't have to have them in the bulb. You can almost create like a little bouquet with them if you wanted to. Then you have this little carton to put the bulb plant in if you want. And several sentiments. We have lovely day, spring is in the air. Again, love the fonts. Miss you, sending well wishes, and bloom where you are planted. So a lot of great sentiments. We're going to stamp out a bunch of those flowers. And the coordinating dies here I have on the back of my Hero Arts. Oh no, I didn't put a stamp away. This is one of the Hero Arts magnetic envelopes, storage envelopes. Oh, because he don't go on that set, Shannon. He goes on this set. There we go. All right, and let's grab some white cardstock. I think I have some somewhere around here. Here we go. Things are getting crazy. All right, stick that in there. And we're going to stamp this in our intensified black ink because, again, this is a alcohol-friendly marker. Oh, that's a great suggestion, Beth. Beth suggests you can maybe have your mail on hold. I don't know if they do that in Germany, but that's definitely what we do when we go on vacation. We put our mail on hold. That's definitely something to look into if that's a possibility as well. All right, we're going to start with that big floral bulb. We're going to stamp that image. And these flowers here, they're all kind of, not necessarily, they're very stylized flowers. So I don't know if they, I don't know what flower they're supposed to look like, or even if they are supposed to look like a particular flower. I'm going to also grab the bulb. We're going to stamp that. We have to stamp that one more time. Oh, and this single flower. I like to fill out these flowers a little bit more. And you know what? Since we have everything here, we might as well stamp our sentiment, which I chose sending well wishes. But any one of them will do. There's a lot of very kind of linear ones. So you could substitute for this card design, you could substitute with any of these other two ones as well. We had room here at the top. Let's pop that up there. Good enough. All right. Let's ink this up with the intensified black. This one will go pretty fast. So this card, I know that first card took a lot of time. This one goes fast. It's pretty much a clean and simple card. The coloring will take a little bit of time. Well, most of our time will be spent coloring, but again, I do very simple Copic coloring, nothing too intense. Missed a spot. There we go. And you know, we can put this down a little bit more. Back to my aggressive ways, my purposeful inking. There we go. And we'll do a little bit more. I see a little splotchiness on some of the stems. There we are. Okay, still a little splotchiness on the stems, and I think we'll be done. I got some kind of fuzz on my stamp. I see it. Let's get that off of there. Some kind of fuzz. I'm gonna stamp that spot one more time because of that fuzz made it a little not so crisp in that spot. All right, now we're gonna stamp that bulb one more time and then we're done with our stamping. And then we're going to actually heat set the ink just to dry it a little bit faster so we can move on to that Copic coloring. Let's grab our stamp set again. Put everything away. Oof, starting to get hot. I'm gonna have to take my sweatshirt off. All right, and there's our bulb. I think we have room down here to stamp it. Oh, they look so pretty, just stamped here on this panel, even though it's kind of random and, you know, no attempt to be a card of any kind yet. But I love it, just kind of stamped randomly. I think that looks pretty just like that. That just goes to show how cute I think these images are. They're just kind of, they're more of the fun, whimsical, definitely stylized flowers. Stylized flowers I love because they're not that realistic look, which takes a lot of pressure off of me to color them realistically. I can kind of color them however I want. Not have to worry so much about light source and shading, even though we'll do a little bit of shading because it adds more interest, but I'm not focused on making them look realistic. All right, everything's stamped. I'm going to take my heat tool and just dry that ink so we can move on to the Copic coloring. All right, I hope that's dry. Let's pull our Copic colors over. And again, all the instructions for both these cards I created today are on Hero Art's blog. You just find the post that's, I think it's 2 days ago, that has the picture of these cards. So that's the Stamp and Craft post. And you can actually find I have the colors listed too. So it's listed there as well all the inks that I've used, because I did use a lot of inks today, especially for that first card. So all that info is in the instructions there. So if you missed anything or that I've said, or maybe I missed it and I didn't say what it was, those instructions are there. So the list and the instructions. Let's start by coloring the leaves. I'm going to color all those leaves. We have 3 colors picked out for the leaves. A light, medium, and dark, even though you can't really tell by the lids exactly, because that almost looks lighter than this color. The light is YG03. Our medium is G43. And our dark is YG67. And you could really do whatever green combo you like the most. These are ones I happen to have re-inkers for, all of these inks. So this is a combo I use a lot. I'm going to start with my lightest and simply color pretty much the whole leaf. I don't have to color all the way to the stem. but I could. It won't hurt if I do. But I'm just saving a little ink by stopping it about a third of the way. Oops. This one will go a little further with. And my ink seems to be nice and dry, so I'm very happy about that. All right, so that's my lightest. No worries, I know it's late for you. I hope you enjoyed that first card. Thank you for watching. And now we're on to 43. And I start at where my darkest shades would be and move out. And I'm doing that feather stroke where more pressure at first when I touch the paper, and then when I move out, I lift up. And this is a feathered brush stroke or feathered stroke, and it just means it just aids in creating that gradation, which is what we're doing on each of these leaves. And like my ink pad, I feel like some of these Copics could use a spa day as well. This one seems a little on the drier side, but we'll make it work. Man, it's a full-time job, just always keeping everything inked up sometimes. Okay. So we got a nice little gradation going there. We're going to amp it up a little bit more with our darkest shade. And this will be like the final third. I've got some kind of weird spot in my paper. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And I think I could pretty much stop right there, but I'll do one final blend with my medium shade just to help the transition between the medium and the dark. Sometimes I go back through all three shades, or actually really just the medium and the light inks to soften the gradation, but this is looking pretty good, honestly. The gradation looks pretty good. This is just fine tuning a little bit. One thing I don't like is we've got this weird dark spot. I don't know what's up with that. Okay, so leaves done there. Let's do the other two plants, same way. Start with that light. Definitely want to get the upper 2/3. And the upper 2/3, I mean the 2/3 away from the stem. You can go beyond it if you want. Then our medium shade. And I like to start at the stem for the medium shade and work out, employing that feather stroke. Then our darkest shade. All right. There, those are done. Now we'll move on to, let's do something simple. We'll start with the pink flowers. Just 2 for the pink flowers. R22 and RV25 as the dark. Start with that 22, just place it down. So I always start with my lightest color, and then I work my way to my darkest color. But for this one, we only have 2, so we don't have a medium. So we'll start with our light, and then we'll move to our dark. I'm just going to do all of the flowers at once here. Saves a tiny bit of time, meaning opening and closing the cap. So minimal for sure. There you go. That's such a pretty color. It's kind of corally. Oh, I'm good. I'm glad that's helpful. And let's open this up. And again, we're going to do that feathered stroke starting at where the petals meet the stem and flick out. And I just did these 3 petals right here in the front. Now the back ones, you see the ones that are kind of behind those 4 front petals, I'm basically going to color those completely with this darker shade. So here I am thinking a little bit about light source. So I lied before, but those petals, to make them look like they're further, they are behind, or to really push that look, that illusion, they would be darker. And so that I'm just going to pretty much completely color them. Almost. I'll leave the little top tip, but they're so small, it's kind of hard to leave the top. But can you see that, how they're darker? And that really makes that flower look more cupped. All right, we'll do that other flower. So started with the front 3 petals, even though this one is a little bit overlapped, just like these ones were, but they're so tiny. I'm not really like going to go in and add a shadow to where they're overlapped. Just focusing on making those petals that are more in the background, which is that little teeny one right there, which I can't get it to focus on, so small. Made that completely dark. And I think for the most part, they look pretty good. I might take my medium shade and just soften the gradation, the transition really between the light and the dark on a couple of the petals, like this one here. Most of them, I think I did pretty good with that feathered stroke. So they look pretty soft. There you go. So that's the pink flowers. Now we're going to move on to, I'm going to add a little bit of that dark back in at the bottom. Sometimes that little extra bit steps it up just a little bit more, the contrast. You know, we'll save the bulbs. Let's move on to the purple flowers. Just 2 colors picked out, V12 and V15. So V12 is the light, V15 is the dark. I'm going to start by simply coloring the flowers completely with the light. And if you hear some noises, my husband just came home from work. So the alarm, you may have heard the door alarm and everything going off. Just, you know, him entering in the code and everything. make some beep sounds. And he's well versed or well trained, maybe. I don't know the right way to say it. But he knows when I'm in a live, he can tell. Otherwise, he would say hi, of course. All right, color those. Now we're going to move on to the darker shade, which is 15, V15, and just quickly color the center a tiny bit. Now, these are so small. These petals are so tiny. I am not going to blend this out after I add a little bit of the darker purple into the center. I don't know if you can see. These two are not colored. These two are in the center. It's subtle. I promise you in person, you can see it more than it's showing up on camera. Done with those. Now the yellow flowers. Now the yellow flowers, I have a lot of colors picked out, and that's because hi, how are you? Happy Sunday. Color the kind of the centers. I color each section a little bit different. So we have the big part of the petal, which is the light yellow. Then the smaller detail on the petal, which is kind of a orangey yellow, and then the center is an orange. So I have a lot of colors picked out. We're going to start with the big part of the petals, which we are coloring first with our light, which is Y00, and then we'll go with our dark Y15 for a little shadow, a little gradation. And you can actually color the whole petal. You don't have to be careful here. It's such a light color. It's okay if you color the whole petal. You can even color the center, but honestly, for me to color the center would be harder than just avoiding it. And I'm going to make sure I color this flower the same too. And you know what? We're going to make this flower here the example because he's a little bit bigger. You can see him a little better. Now I'm moving on to Y15. And I'm going to color, let's see if we can do it up in the air. From the center out. Can you see that? And again, I'm not worrying about coloring that inside detail part of the petal. That's fine. How pretty is that? Little gradation. Now for the detail part, we're moving on to a different color, which is Y17. This is a orangey yellow. And we're going to just color that little detail part. I want it to stand out. I don't want it to just blend in. I decided to enhance that part and really show it off because I think it's so pretty. And then we'll take YR2, which is an orange. And of course, because I love gradations, just color that little bit there. Definitely subtle, just creating a little gradation. Again, not really captured on camera, but you can see it. And then I'm going to take the same color and color that center. And then you can use this shade, this dark orange, to give that a little gradation if you want. Let's see if you can see. I colored like about half of it with the darker color. And that's it. So now we're going to color the other two flowers the same way. I've already laid down that light yellow, so we're going to move on to our dark yellow. Color those petals. About halfway up the petal. Now we're moving on to the detail on the petal. Moving on to our yellow orange, which is Y17. And color that whole little detail or section in that petal. Hold it up so you can kind of see. Then we'll take YR2. Color about halfway up in that detail section. Now it's so teeny tiny. And then I'm going to go ahead and color the star centers. They look like stars to me. And then finish with that dark, which is YR07. About halfway. I like the little contrast. I like it. I think the original, I colored it completely, but I like it not completely colored. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. All right, last thing to color. Home stretch. Put these aside. We are going to use E30, E31, and 0, our colorless blender, to kind of help us smooth out the gradation over these bulbs. We'll start with E30 and color about, oh gosh, about 2/3, maybe halfway, like that. Do that on all 3 of these bulbs. We might not even need the colorless blender depending on how it looks. And then we're going to do E31, which is our dark, and color that bottom third. And you know what? I don't think I need the colorless blender. I think with the feathered stroke, I was able to get a pretty good blend. There we are. I could, if I felt like at my transition between the E30, which is that light tan, and the color of the cardstock, which is just the white of the cardstock, I could use the colorless blender to kind of blend it out, but I don't think I need to. I think it looks pretty good. The only thing I'm going to do last is take E30 and just add a little bit to the top of the bulb. It helps to kind of make it look like we colored the whole thing, even though you know and I know and we missed a little section, but just by coloring that top, it finishes the look. All right, let's die cut these out. Home stretch here. Grab all the coordinating dies. We have one for the sentiment. I think this is the one. Is it? Nope. Try again. You? Oh, 3rd time's the charm. There we go. Sometimes you can't tell unless you stick them on there. And I'm going to need some tape. I am not going to risk it. We're going to tape these guys in place. Some people like to cut and then color, which is actually what we did for that little butterfly. Usually I don't. The advantages of die cutting your stamped images and then coloring them is that if you didn't die cut it well or didn't line it up well, you could just toss it. You know, you didn't spend any time coloring it. But the disadvantage of die cutting and then coloring is you can be left with something kind of tiny and tricky to kind of hold in place while you color. Of course, you can use script mats if you happen to have those. So there are solutions to that. I'm just kind of old school and learned this way, and that's how I do it. Got used to this way, really, and that's how I do it. And some of these dies are tricky to line up, like this flower. So I keep spinning it until it looks right. And that looks like it's lined up. Those are my little tricks. Not many, but some. Maybe they're helpful. All right, and we need one more piece of tape, I think. Over there. And then we're going to do one couple on that sentiment, and then we are home stretch. We just have to die cut out that bulb, glue everything together. Well, glue and foam adhesive everything together. Not too bad. I always go about 2 hours, so I apologize. That's always, everything I do takes so long. I try to go fast. But we will get to that sneak peek in just a second. I'm noticing that I don't think that's lined up as well as I'd like. We're going to try one more time. This is the crafter's equivalent, you know, like they talk in carpentry or in construction, like measure once. What is it? Measure once. Oh my gosh, now I don't know the saying. Who knows the saying? Measure twice, cut once. Oh, is that how it goes? I don't know. I feel like this is that equivalent where you take your time, you know, get the die lined up well. So you only have to cut it once, but really only have to stamp it once and color it once, where you take the extra time. All right. I say that and I think I messed it up on the sentiment. You know, you can only try. I think it's okay. Oh yeah, it's fine. It looks great, right? That looks good. There's our flowers. So cute. Spring is now in Arizona, which is where I'm at. It's now spring. Like when it becomes like when we get to Easter, it's so hot. It's almost unbearable, like being outside. It's almost too hot in Arizona to do any of the Easter stuff. Look for eggs and so now we have to enjoy. I wish we could bump up Easter in Arizona to now when the weather is perfect. All right, we're going to cut out this bulb. There we go. Okay. And the last thing, feels like summer today in Tucson. Oh, I know. What's the temperature right here, right now? I used to have my phone be able to, or my watch say, oh, I can look. Here we go. I can look it up. 80. So it's 80 degrees right now. So it's definitely a warm day. It's definitely a warm day. My kids went to the zoo yesterday and they got a little hot. So, but can you imagine it's 80 now and wait till, you know, when's Easter? Like a month from now? How hot it's going to be then. Oh, today is even a warm day for, is it even spring yet? Is it even spring? You heat wave at 40? Yeah, I know it is definitely a warmer day for sure than even normally for this time of year. But not unheard of, you know, 80. Not spring yet. Yeah, see, not spring. This is probably the hottest it'll get today, I think. Maybe 81. If I'm not used to looking at this weather thing. Maybe 81 would be the hottest. Okay, everything is colored. Everything is die cut. Let's put it together. All right, we're going to grab our card base, which me, I have already folded and ready to go. Push those aside. I do also have a piece of Hero Arts Canary cardstock. It's a beautiful soft yellow, trimmed down to A2, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We'll glue this down onto our card base. 60 in Illinois. Heat wave for you guys. That does seem hot, actually. I would have thought, yeah. 60, I'm cold because I'm such a baby. But in my defense, I'm born and raised here in Arizona, so I'm adapted to Arizona temperatures. So I can handle the heat. I don't love it, but I can handle it. I'm going to cut this down a little bit, sticking out a tiny bit. And I'm not loving that. So I'm just trimming down my card base. They all come, all those papers come a little bit off. So not surprised there. It looks like I got my inky finger on here somehow. There's a little mark, but luckily we can cover that up. Oh, that's so kind. That makes me feel so good. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you. All right, this panel, this white panel is actually smaller than A2. I trimmed it before the live. I cut off about, I really do mean that, about. I didn't really like super measure. And you can see, and I think I might trim a little bit more. No, it looks okay. Sorry, I cut about 1/8 of an inch off. So this is really this panel here is really, what do we say? It's 4 1/4 cut off 1/8. So it's 4 1/8. 4 1/8. And this would be 5 3/8. So it's a little bit smaller. It does not have to be that exact size. I just wanted a little bit. And looking at my original, I think it's pretty close. Yeah, that's the same dimensions, but I'm looking at this. I think that yellow panel is a little smaller than 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut the bottom off a tiny bit. We're going to grab our paper trimmer to do it too. No craft knife this time. I just feel like there's not quite enough border showing. And I don't know why. Sometimes that's how it is, even though I did. So we are going to trim this down. It's at 4 1/8. I'm going to trim it down 1/16. So just a little bit more. And again, you can eyeball this. This does not have to be exact measurement. Sometimes you have to adjust your measurements because your cardstock isn't always exactly 8 1/2 by 11. Yeah, I like that a lot more. Look at that border, much better. And then we'll cut the bottom off probably a little bit, well, maybe just 1/16, maybe a little bit more than 1/16. So it's at 5 3/8. We're going to go down a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're going to glue this all down, and we are good. There's some smudge on there. Gosh, leave it to me to get some smudge on there. Oh, I'm not going to worry about it. All right, I need some liquid glue. Here we go. Yeah, I got smudges everywhere. I'm a mess. Okay, we'll use this, glue this side. Both sides have smudges, but this side seems to have fewer smudges. I think I need to wash my hands because I'm certain it's me, but I didn't. Okay, I got a little bit of ink on my hands. I've been fairly clean today. All right, look at that perfect border. Worth the extra little fussing with for sure. So good. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue some of these things together. I'm going to glue these bulbs to our plants, to our flowers. So grab that liquid glue, add a little dab. It's just going to make it less pieces to have to fuss with. A little dab of glue. Stick it down. Cute. They look so cute in their little bulbs. I love it. Then we will, as he falls off his, hey guy, you need to stay glued. And there's our big one. We'll tuck this flower behind. It just felt like it needed to be a little fuller to match the size of the purple. And then our sentiment underneath. And we could have easily stamped our sentiment instead of stamped it, I should say, onto this panel instead of stamping and die cutting it. Both would work. Again, I love the fact that all the sentiments in this clear set have coordinating dies. You know, we want you in front. That's what we do. We want you in front. Slightly overlaps that. Fuss, 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 fuss. This is what I have a problem. I fuss with things so much. When, like, ultimately, it doesn't matter. It looks exactly the same. Okay, now we're going to take the press and seal again. Oh, I'm so glad you guys enjoy these. That makes me feel really good. Sometimes I feel like I'm just talking out into the void. That's definitely what it feels like here on my end. So I don't know if people are watching. I don't know if people are crafting along. I'm glad you guys are enjoying. That makes me feel very, very good. So I appreciate you telling me. Thank you, Beth. It's a fun little simple card. Aren't the flowers so pretty though? The heavy lifting is really, I think, the flowers. Like I said before, I thought they were already pretty even before we colored them, just stamped on the panel, the white panel, and very randomly as well. But whoops. So I'm obviously adding foam adhesive. I'm not sure if I said that. I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back side. I definitely need to make sure I get some onto this flower back there. He's all by himself. And I'm going to have to dip into, so this sentiment, this is the downside of stamping the sentiment and die cutting it out, is that it's very teeny tiny. You see how thin it is? My 1/4 inch foam adhesive is too wide. So I got to dip into my 1/8, which I'm running out of. My 1/8 strips, which work. I do have to, they don't work the complete length of the sentiment. There's some teeny tiny parts right here where here and there, I think it would be visible. It would not fit. So we'll trim it in a little, that 1/8 strip here and there. Oh, not you. You. I don't know why I have my giant scissors to do this, but I do. They're the handiest ones. All right. So you got foam adhesive on the back of the sentiment, the back of all the flowers. Let's remove the backing. All right. And then we'll stick it onto the card. So how many of you guys are using Copics? Or did you use Copics? Or what was your coloring medium if you colored along with me? I'm curious because I am debating whether I need to get Olos. So I know a lot of people really like them, and I just have so many Copics, you know. Oh, my kitty's going to be noisy. Stick that down. I should have stood up. Oh no, I did not follow Kathy's recommendation. I'm going to do this one by hand. Ohuhu. I have Ohuhu too. Though I had mine a long time ago. So a lot of them dried out a little bit. I actually passed them on to my sister because they're actually good at alcohol markers. Okay, I'm standing up for this because I feel like I have to do the sentiment up standing up. All right, there it is. All done. Though he looks off. Move that down a little bit. And we'll move him in. Gosh, you guys do this. I do this all the time. And in fact, I'm kind of embarrassed how often I stick stuff down and then reposition it. I just can't ever let well enough alone. All right, I think I'm happy with that. Here we go. Yes, I'm happy with that. That looks a little bit more centered. Phew. So there's the finished card, nice and clean and simple. Could have even been like one of the flowers in the bulbs. This is just a great set for a nice, clean and simple kind of cards. I went a little bit further with the 3, but I love it. I think it's so pretty. Oh, they're so pretty. And that sentiment, the scripty font, I love it. Such a great set. Again, that was the February clear set plus dies of the month. Okay, we have done all of our cards. That means I can show you guys the sneak peek of the March card kit. I cannot wait to show you. And the refills came out and many people switched. Now it's hard to find demos with Copics. Oh, okay, good. So you used to like both, Vicki, right? That's what I did. I got all the Copics too, and I got all the refills too. So I'm like right there with you, Vicki. All right. So there are a bunch of things to show you guys in this card kit. I can't wait. We're going to start with the I don't even know if I want to call it the centerpiece, but it's the largest kind of product in the set, and that is the 6x8 clear. So we're going to start with that. And again, this is the March. I'm showing you the March card kit. We haven't even sneaked this yet on our socials or our website. We will start sneaking this, I believe, the 27th. So you guys are getting a little bit early. This is the best way to see it. And you're seeing it kind of completely. So that's nice. You know what? This white paper is not the right size. Let's try this one. So this is the first product in the kit that I'm showing you. This is the 6x8 clear. It's a bunch of awesome, beautiful, scripty sentiments, linear sub-sentiments, which are so handy. And you have 5 of these beautiful, some patterned, some not patterned bows. So very pretty set. We have celebrate, wishing, happy, enjoy, hello, and they can be used again with these sub-sentiments. So you can have happy anniversary, wishing you happiness, wishing you the best. A lot of them can enjoy each day, enjoy your special day. So it can bunch of different occasions. That's the right word. Bunch of different occasions. Let me push that to this side. We'll put it down here. And then, of course, there are coordinating dies that go with this stamp set. You have dies that cut out all 5 of those bows and dies that cut out all the scripty sentiments. These ones are, obviously we do a sentiment strip with, so you don't need a die for that. So there you go. And then we have oh, that's awesome, Scott. That's awesome. Then there is this 6 or 4x6. There we go. Cling set as well. You have a large bow. Isn't it cute? I love it. Then you have this little accent bow that you can kind of tuck behind. a little brooch that you can put over this, the knot in the center. These can be like a string of pearls. You can see mine are a little stained because I stamped them in yellow to kind of match. I made like a gold brooch, but these could also be stamped and heat embossed. Can you imagine them stamped and then heat embossed in the Hero Arts set, the pearl? So pretty. I can't wait to do that. Or if you put, use it as a guide and use enamel dots or liquid pearls. Wouldn't that be really pretty? Oh my gosh, so pretty. And then these sentiments here with this set fit on the, what do you call these? I don't know what this part of the bow would be called. These strings? That doesn't sound right. I don't know. This part of the bow, you can put those sentiments, tails, maybe the tails of the bow. You can stamp on the back on these as well. Oh, I didn't even think that. Welcome back home. Welcome, class. Yes. Tails. Thank you, Mindy. I got there eventually. But these can be stamped on the tails of the bow as well. So you have, they're very scripty, can be to from. Oh, because the to from. I'll explain that in just a second. So you have to from, but you also have birthday for you, with love, yay, cheers, you did it, happy. So you can have happy birthday, which I have already used, hooray, celebrate, congrats, thank you. You have a couple little additional flowers and dots that you can stamp on the bow to make it look like a pattern. But back to that to and from. The reason why you have to and from as well is because this bow can be a tag. There's a little hoop here, a little loop that's part of the die. So you can have this little bow be on like a present. Can you imagine how cute? Like on either a wrapped present or even a bag. You have your little stamp bow, you write to, from, and then you write on the tails to and from the recipient and the giver. So really pretty. It's very large. And I have sadly lost my A2. We'll use this as a guide. Oh, I never glued this onto my card base. Oh, well. Oh, well. Oh, wait, no, I did. This is my original. My original I never glued into my card base. But you can see it's very large bow. So it can work for your focal point as well, especially when you combined it with the little accent, which there is a die for that cuts that out, die to cut out all the ribbon, or I mean the beads or pearls. I guess they could be beads too. And then that is for the brooch. So there's a coordinating die for this beautiful bow set. So this is all still, we're still looking at everything included in the kit. I'm looking for some white cardstock. I had a piece out just for this purpose, and I think I lost it, which sounds like me. Oh, wait, is this it? Nope. Nope, nope, I don't know. Nope. Okay, we'll put this behind it for now. You can still see it there. There we go. Yes, it's like a tag, Lee. Exactly. It's like a tag, but it doesn't have to be used as a tag because you can easily snip off that tag part if it bothers you, even though I don't think it's a like an eyesore, but it could be the focal point of your card or it could be used as a tag. Then next, there is also a cover plate die in this kit as well. You have this beautiful, and this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 die that cuts out these little parts here are actually cut out. So these like ribbony confetti like little pieces get cut out, and then you have this beautiful ribbon frame, and you can add a bow to it to make this such a pretty little window, a little bow ribbon window. It's super cute. I love this. Again, can be used for so many different occasions. Anniversary, wedding, just a simple like hello or invite, even baby shower, bridal shower. There's a lot of different themes. Mother's Day, you can use this with this. You can't buy it right now. That's right. I'm giving you, you cannot get this yet. Oh, you can't buy anything right now. I know, Lee. Vacations are expensive, aren't they? But this isn't, you can't even get this yet. I'm showing you before you can even order it. This is March's kit, which will become available on the 27th of February. So you're getting a very early sneak peek. This Stamp and Craft, or formerly known as our make-alongs, usually happen closer to release date. This one happened a little bit earlier this month. So because of the fewer days in February. So you guys are really seeing this early. Okay, if that wasn't enough, there's also a 6x6 stencil. It's a nice striped stencil, great for adding patterns to your bows or just your background. I used it with this one. I think it's super pretty. So that's a very handy stripy stencil, and you can use it. Yeah, exactly. Automatic subscriptions don't count for no-i. Vicky, I love that card maker logic. That's card maker math. Somebody needs to make a card maker math video. This could be used vertically or horizontally, or you can stack it and kind of make a like a grid, right? Like a cute patterned background. It's so pretty. Lisa, it's such a pretty kit. And I feel like this is one of the kits that it's harder to show you how beautiful it is just like this, just seeing the products. This kit is one of those ones where you put it together, you put these pieces together, and it really starts to get so beautiful and pretty. Craftmatics. Yes, Amy. Yes, we need that. Someone needs to make that video. Okay, so 2 stamp sets, coordinating dies, a cover plate, a 6x6 stencil. There's also 2 sheets of these beautiful bow transfers. And these are large sheets. I forget the dimensions of these. Not quite 8.5, I think. Well, let me get my ruler. I forgot the dimensions. Let me get my big ruler here so we can measure them. Do you have a cut? I will show you, Vicky. Oh, shoot, Vicky. I did have it cut out, but I gave all my cards to the office to take photos of. So I don't have one yet. Shoot. I'm sorry, Vicky. You know what? I'll cut one out real quick for you guys. I'll cut one out real quick so you can see it. And I need it anyways. So we'll kill 2 birds with the same stone. This is, oh, it's so close to 8. It's almost 8. It's like 7 3/4 big. And I think it's 6 inches wide. Oh, it's even, yeah, 6 inches wide. So a big sheet here, a bunch of bow transfers. They're so cute, very, very pretty. And you get 2 of those. I've used one of mine already, so I'm only showing you one right now. I love transfers. They're so fun. And if you guys haven't played with our transfers yet, one, if you're experienced with transfers in the past, transfers used to be very, very difficult to use. These are awesome. They're very easy to use. They transfer beautifully. And the cool thing about transfers is, as you can put them on acetate or vellum. So think of a shaker card. You put these on the acetate, and then your beautiful glittery sequency shaker components are behind your bows, behind them, and not covering them up. There's so many fun things you can do with transfers. And they're great. And the bow is so cute because you can just kind of add it here and there. The transfers make it really easy to add it wherever you want it to go. All right. And the last thing included in this kit is some new cardstocks. These are Spellbinder's new cardstock colors. And you know what? I think, do I remember the names of them? Let's see. This one is Tutti Frutti. I think this one's Bellini. This one is, oh, envelopes, Vicky, that's so true. envelopes. This is mint. Oh, I forgot. This one's orchard. I forgot this one and this one. But you get, how many are these? 6 of these beautiful cardstock colors. These are the new cardstocks, some of the new cardstocks from Spellbinders. They have some beautiful pinks and like in between pinks and purples that we didn't really have at Hero. So we thought this was a great palette, building off of these transfers that we have here. So really fun. And they're half sheets. So you get one of each of these colors, really pretty. And this one right here, this mint, is one of my favorites. This guy right here. I love that one. So pretty. All right, let's cut this out real quick. So, because this is really not doing it justice like this. So I have a panel here ready to go. I think I do. I do. Let's line it up and die cut this cover plate that's included in the March card kit so you guys can see what it looks like. Here we go. It's like, where's my top plate? There it is. And again, we will have samples coming out for you guys to see everything very soon. In a couple days, you're getting the early sneak peek. And if I had my cards with me that I've made already, I would have showed them to you, but I don't have them anymore. I dropped them off at the office for photos. All right. Pull this over, and I should have die cut a bow too, but you can see how all these little negative pieces pop out, except for that main ribbon, or well, actually it's not a bow yet because you need the other dies, these dies here, to make a little bow. Pop them out. Let's see, can I have a, there we go. We'll move faster if we got the tweezers. And even these little negative pieces in between the loops of the ribbon pop out. I think it's so pretty that you have the cutouts and then you have a not cutout part, like that the ribbon's framing, well, creating like a window or a frame. And you could, of course, inlay if you wanted to have all these cutout parts, different colors. You can inlay them. For my sample, I actually die cut it out of colored cardstock and cut out the ribbon. And let's grab my, where's my card again? Here we go. Just so you can see the contrast. You guys, look at how pretty it is. So pretty. And then you can cut this bow here and then like place it right here or here. I can't ever remember which one's the top or bottom. I don't know if it really matters. I think this is the top. You can place it right there. I even placed mine in this area here once I made the ribbon. But it's such a pretty, yes, great shaker card window. So cute. So pretty. Okay, so I hope that, guys, that helped. I'm going to pop this back to my face. There we go. Thank you guys so much for joining me today and crafting along with the February card kit and the February Clear Set Plus Dies of the Month. And I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek of the March card kit. It will be available March 27th, and you can see some more sneak peeks as well, some cards, some actual cards created with the kit too, to get kind of a better idea. But I hope you guys like it. I think it's such a pretty kit, tons and tons of products, and it's like you guys saw, and I can't wait for you guys to see some of the samples because I think they're very, very pretty. All right, guys, thank you so much again for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys when we have the release, which will be March 1st. We have the release of all the new March products, including this March card kit. And I will do a live on the 2nd. So March 2nd, I'll do a live and I'll go over all the new products and share a bunch of card samples or card creations from the creative team. So check out for that live. I'll be posting it pretty soon so you can you do the notify me button and not miss it. Again, thank you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye, everyone.